and Craction. So Miss Cracker says thinking of all her YouTube videos. And then she's like, she's a woman.
And I kept saying, Sadie, Cordy's sitting on the chair. She's sitting on the chair. And she was like, and you know, she stuck her tail up as she does. She was like, her line of sight hit the chair. And Cordy was, of course, sitting there. And she preemptively went. Cordy was like, I'm gonna chase you anyway. And I got in here and Cordy was like, where did she go? And she's like, sitting in the middle of the room. She was like, you'll never believe me, but I think there's a cat around here somewhere. That's exactly what. Inside the house. Whatever kind of detente they had for the fireworks situation has been shattered. The really exciting thing that happened was that during the fireworks on New Year's, Cordy and Sadie both hid under the bed, our bed down here, together. They were under there side by side, like they were more scared of the fireworks than they were of each other. So yes, as Joe says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm gonna give a brief introduction. Okay. Because that's what I'm into right now, very brief introductions. Okay. I'm looking forward to your brief introduction. Can I use this like a little microphone? We should get little microphones that we use when we give our reviews. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Louise Poston and this is... I am guest commentator Julia Stein. And this is every body scrub we've ever tried, ranked. Except not, because I can't remember all the body scrubs I've ever tried. And knowing how it usually goes, we will probably fail to rank them. No, we totally will. We'll just be discussing them at length and with extreme verbosity. And then you can apply your own rankings based on what we say. Yes, exactly. Because the responsibility is partly yours. Thank you for getting at the heart of the matter. Do you think that's gonna be okay as an introduction? I feel like maybe we should film a backup. Maybe, as predicted, Cordy scratching at the door and whining. Hey y'all, in today's video, Julia and I are going to be reviewing all the body scrubs that we've ever tried that we can remember. So we have some here before us that are still in the house. Some have been recently used up and we no longer have the packaging. And then we're also going to be recalling, we're going to be like, digging deep into the annals of our memory for peeling back the layers of our past skin exfoliation experiences to reveal the, in my case, only two other that you only two other body scrubs that I remember. Anyway, it's just gonna be like a you know, comprehensive body scrub video. We might try to rank, we'll probably just pick top 2 or 3. As usual, we had the idea and then we decided to film it before making any structural plans for how the video would unfold. If you're new to my channel, I'm Hannah and I love beautiful things, but I try to be judicious about the ones that I acquire, so I enjoy doing this kind of assessment of product video. This is Julia. I'm living in her house right now and once in a while she is a guest on the channel to everyone's delight. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I feel like we should start by trying to remember all of the scrubs. And well, maybe we'll just let you know all the scrubs we're gonna be talking about today, and then we can go through them one by one. So the ones that we have are this chocolate Aaron's Faces sugar body scrub, and then there's the peppermint one that I have tried before that Julia recently used up. We each have one of these Yves Rocher Gommage Rich. Is that what yours is called? Mine is called Vegetal. I have a vegetable body. So too bad Joe's not editing this because he would immediately put like a carrot instead of your body. So great. I wish I knew how to do that. So these were sent to me. These were PR and I gave one to Julia and I kept one. And so we've been trying them. They're different though. But really I don't know why it's called Vegetal and not fruit because it's with apricot kernel, but we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. So I kept the box of this Glossier Body Hero. It's an exfoliating bar. I used some of my store credit at Glossier to buy us each one of these a couple of months ago, and both of us, well, actually I haven't used mine up yet, but you have used yours up. I have used mine up. And then there's this lovely Savon body scrub, white tea body scrub, and it has this lovely wooden scoop that makes me feel like I'm in a spa.
So what are the other scrubs you've tried in your life? I'm gonna write them down.
I'm sure there are more than I remember because there are only 2 that I remember.
Okay, what are the 2 that you remember?
The 2 that I remember are the Bliss. It's like blood orange sugar scrub.
Oh, I think I used the Bliss sugar scrub
You
once when I
probably
was
did when you were visiting me.
Yeah, I remember it. Oh, that's good. We'll be able to both talk about it.
Yeah, and then the other one I remember is this Ahava shea butter and Dead Sea salt scrub that Steph brought me back from a trip to Israel.
I remember I've used the Lush sea salt. What's it called? Ocean salt. Lush has this ocean salt face and body scrub.
I will say once I got a manicure and they used this sort of like almondy scrub thing, but I don't know what it was.
Let's leave that out.
Walnut.
Oh, the Dove one. I knew that there was another one. Okay, so the Dove body scrub that Simbri sent to me, I recently used. So we can talk about that one too. What are we assessing based on? Like what are
what are our categories?
What do we love? What do we want in a scrub? Like what do we Oh, I remember another scrub I've used. The Lalicious scrub, actually.
Well, I'm happy that you only have one more scrub than me because I was worried you would have like 17 scrubs and I would only remember 2. You probably
I'm sure I've used more scrubs. I mean, I've reviewed more scrubs.
I have used more scrubs than I remember, but probably still fewer scrubs than
me, maybe. Well, I mean, there's also, I don't know if I want to include the House of Glory bubbling scrubs because I think probably we should.
Well, if it's a scrub, it's a scrub, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what makes a scrub a scrub? We could rely on your definition that you gave to Ollie. Don't you remember the other day? No, the other day when Ollie was like, what's a scrub?
What did I say?
You said a scrub is like some sort of exfoliating material in oil.
Oh, he was literally asking what are you talking about?
Is a scrub.
That's why I went the House of Glory bubbling scrub. They're not in an oil base. They're in like a whipped soap base. So it's like a scrubbing soap. And also, I mean, this isn't in an oil base either.
Well, I also kind of doubt that this is.
So basically, and we're just talking about body exfoliators that you use in the shower or bath.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the category. Category is...
And I feel like that'll make for a really snappy title. Body exfoliators that you use in the shower or bath.
During late stage capitalism and a global pandemic. That should be the title. Let's stick at this. Okay. I know that there have been these random body scrubs that have come my way during the 3 years that I've been on YouTube that I've talked about. Like I remember that little one that... It was supposed to be like a beer.
I don't even remember that.
It was, yeah, and it was like this big. It was like this big. It was like this big. The jar was like an inch big.
Getting smaller.
The jar, it was such a small jar. It was like 1 granule and 1 drop of oil.
But it was really expensive.
But it was really expensive. I think Simbri got it and Bjorn gave it to me. So I got in there the first night and I like used 1 handful and it was all gone, obviously, because there was only 1. You know, it was like so little. And I used it and I was like, this is pretty nice. And then I looked it up and it was $60.
I like mine to be very scrubby. I maybe should preface this by saying that I tend to use scrubs in the winter in Los Angeles, which is a desert. And every winter my skin gets all like crepey or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. As a result, I tend to like something that really feels like I'm getting exfoliated. I feel like with some scrubs, you're kind of like, oh, right, like this is a thing happening, but it feels kind of like tingly. I like to really feel like there's a layer of my skin being removed every time I use the scrub.
I have very dry skin year round. And I don't like putting lotion on my skin. And so I like it when a body scrub is so lotiony or so oily that it deposits a layer. And so when I get out of the shower, I'm all greased up like really intensely. And then I like put my pajamas on over it. And then the pajamas like force it into my skin overnight. When you have that very thick base that leaves a layer on the skin, sometimes the granules of the scrub can get trapped in it and it can like not go well. So I feel like that's why a good body scrub is kind of hard to find.
And I would say I'm probably less extreme than you on the oil situation. Like I don't feel like I need to look like a waxed fruit at a supermarket when I get out of the shower.
And I do.
I know.
And this is when a waxed fruit butt would appear over my body.
But I do like there to be some oiliness. I also don't mind putting on lotion, and in fact, I do tend to put on lotion after I exfoliate, so I don't feel like it needs to be the last step in my skin moistening process. Cordy, how you doing back there? Boy, you so cute.
Is she in the background? She is. Look. Wait, look at her little faces right there.
Moosh moosh.
Okay, let's talk about the Erin's faces. And it is, so we'll just talk about the peppermint one first that we both tried. Definitely a distinctive, standout, extreme example.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's probably closest to the thing that you're describing. Like I felt like a waxed fruit when I got out of the shower. That. And the granules are really large.
Like extremely large.
So I think but I do think that kind of counteracts the concern that like I think that maybe a smaller granule would get like kind of gummed up in that amount of oil that there is there, but the larger granules, they kind of just roll with it.
And then they melt away.
And they melt away, yeah. Here's what I have to say for the peppermint one. It's very pepperminty, which I love because it was, it was like December when I was using it. I enjoyed smelling like a candy cane. It was great. And I like pepperminty things. They make me feel very fresh. But because the granules are so large, I found that it went really quickly. That's like my one critique of it. I mean, it's fabulous. It did all the things that I wanted in terms of exfoliation quality. Like I felt very exfoliated every time I used it. I enjoyed the slightly larger granules. Although I will say, I think those were probably the biggest. That's not true, because I think the Ahava one had actually some pretty
you're trying to think like what are the biggest granules you've ever had.
Exactly.
I have the same thing. For that reason, it's like it goes super fast. And I've been really lucky to receive some Erin's Faces peppermint scrub as PR and then once as a gift from a friend. And so when I've used it, I've been like, it's been this like indulgent thing that was a gift. For me, the Erin's Faces falls more in the realm of like a gift or special occasion scrub rather than like an everyday scrub.
Yeah, totally agree. And I did try to stretch it because it did feel like a special occasion scrub. So I actually had this too.
At the same time.
This is also why I feel like we need to make our own. But but this is like a not uncommon thing that I'll do is like have one thing that's like kind of exfoliating that is cheap. And then my like fancy one that I use when I'm like, it's Saturday. Like, I'm really trying to like ration out I tried really hard to like really stretch that Erin's Faces one. But I think maybe there was something also about like, I got it right at the end of the year. I had just finished up the semester. I was feeling like really tired.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna have a spa shower experience today, every day.
Yeah, and I feel like with that mindset, which is my mindset every time I take a shower, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have a spa shower day today.
Every day.
With that mindset, you could go through this size of the Erin's Faces, the peppermint scrub in like 2 days.
Yeah, if you were an aggressive scooper, if I'd really been using this every single day, I don't know if it would have lasted me more than a week.
Yeah,
because the jar is so small and the granules are
There is a bigger jar available. That said,
but
I think for me, consistency wise and outcomes wise, it's the top. The chocolate one, I'll touch on really quickly.
It smells so good.
It's really, really, really chocolatey.
Like I want to eat it.
And it's got that slightly bitter edge that like really good dark chocolate has. And for some reason, once in a while when I use it, I don't love it. Like I like the peppermint one better. I feel like as I'm using it, it smells more and more like chocolate and I'm like, it smells so good and it smells good and it like hasn't prevented me from using it. But there's sort of like one undertone to the scent that will like float through my nostril every once in a while when I'm using it that it is a little jarring, almost like balsamic vinegar or something. I think maybe it's just so food smelling that it's like kind of beyond,
I think, so I've never tried this scrub. I would sit here and smell this all day, but I don't know if I would want to smell like it. if that makes sense.
Yeah. I kind of liked smelling like it.
No, I mean, I think that's, it's a personal preference.
It does make sense. I think I feel the same way. I feel torn.
Yeah.
Not torn enough to not use it up because it has all the benefits of the peppermint one. It has the big granules. It's very oily. My legs feel amazing the next morning after I use it and all of that stuff. And if the peppermint one didn't exist, I'd probably be saying that this is my favorite.
Also, here's the other thing that I'll say. You shower before you go to bed, and I shower in the morning. So I think this has to do also with the smell preference because I love to go, like, peppermint makes me feel like refreshed and woken up and like I'm happy to go about my day smelling like peppermint and like invigorated and whatnot. But I could see it being really comforting going to bed smelling like chocolate.
Yeah, oh,
but
absolutely.
I wouldn't want to like put a chocolate thing on and then like go about my business all day.
Totally. No, you're right. And also by the morning, it's kind of soaked in and it's not the smell isn't as intense. It's just like cozy. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're very similar. It's just the scents are different and they're both really, really good. I think it's just that thing of like a little does not go a long way, kind of. No. You know what I mean? Or like a lot goes a little way. I don't know what's the opposite of a little goes a long way.
A little way.
All right, this is what was next. Yves Rocher.
So this is currently the one that I'm using when I said like sometimes I don't know if this was cheap. It's the one that I'm using as like my more regular scrub so that I don't have to use the one that I really love up as quickly. Although it's probably like how much?
No, they are cheap.
Okay, they are cheap.
Hold on.
Okay.
Well,
yes, that one's the one I have. It's $11 for.
It's currently on sale, 50% off for $11. I'm not super familiar with this brand, so I don't know if they.
So
if it's
not
one of these
cheap,
things
actually.
where they're always on sale. But on their website, it's saying that it's usually $22 and it's currently 50% off.
For $11, I'm okay with it. For $22, I'm not. That's my snappy review. But here's what I'll say about this particular one. It does not feel super oily. Like it has almost none of that oiliness that I like having some of. It has apricot kernels.
Here, you can hold it up. We didn't do it with the
right.
Faces. You have to cover your eyes.
Like this?
No, but up here.
Oh, like I can't see how.
There, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, it has apricot kernels, which I feel goes against the part that we told Ollie that it dissolves. The thing that
I don't like a scrub where the stuff doesn't dissolve.
Yeah. I agree. And the thing that I said to Hannah about this scrub was that the apricot kernels are very persistent. They like really stick on your skin. So the thing that I've started doing with it is that I will like put on a little bit of that body wash, the Bioderma the oil, cleansing oil. And then the scrub on top of that because without the oil, it won't wash. It like sticks off me, and then I have to spend like, 3 extra minutes in the shower making sure that I got all the apricot kernels off my body so that there's not like a stray apricot kernel in my
So this one doesn't have oil. So I have the shea butter one.
Yeah.
It's got way more oil in it. It's got a bunch of coconut oil and vegetable oil and olive oil and stuff, and then shea nut shell powder. So it does have little shells.
Oh yeah, mine's just basically like water and apricot kernels.
I really like the scent.
I like the smell.
There's something about it. It's very...
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice.
Kind of clean.
Yeah, it's clean. And it's also kind of warm.
Very apricot.
And fresh. Yeah, they feel like nice products, but I think this feels like a lotion, like a very oily lotion that you're putting on. It's like a scrubby lotion. Joe, have you ever tried any body scrubs?
A what?
Have you ever tried a body scrub?
Do you exfoliate?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I feel like there have been body scrubs in the shower that I've pilfered before.
Do you remember enjoying any of them? No comment from Joe.
I did exfoliate a little bit of Ollie's arm with the apricot kernel one the other day.
Well, he told me that this morning that he used that one.
He did?
Yeah. But he might have used it separately from what you were talking about. He said he used a brown
That's a problem
one.
because I have a very...
You've been measuring it?
I've like worked it out. I'm trying to hang on to this until we make our own. And then our own is going to stand in as the like non-special occasion, you know?
So this one, I feel they're very different from these two. This one, it's like a lotion. Like it really does feel like you've mixed some shell granules, exfoliating, you know, ground up shell of something into a lotion, and you have an oily lotion. And so you can imagine if you put a lotion on in the shower and scrub with it and then wash it off, you'd be left with some kind of nourishment, but it's just not the same as like the really amazing ones that I've used. And the smell is really nice. I mean, it's like it's middling. And again, I think if like this was truly like a drugstore price product and you could get it for like $3.99 at the Walgreens, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I'd be like checking out with 10 of them, you know what I mean? Because it would be a great inexpensive alternative. But that feels like to me the only scenario in which it would be a good buy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Glossier.
Body Hero. What are the granules in this? Sand?
I don't know. What does it say on the box? Sodium
rapeseed. It says that. You can
It says sodium rapeseed.
Rapeseed. It's exactly what it says. Read it out loud.
It does say that.
No, rapeseed is a bright yellow flowering member of the family, the mustard or cabbage family.
Yeah, that grows all over everywhere.
But is that sodium mustardate? Is that what's in there?
Well, look what sodium rapeseedate is. What is
sodium rapeseedate? Rapeseedate and dateseedate.
Get some late ivy too, wouldn't you? It says it's not bad for you, so that's good.
It just has a picture of a molecule, but I think that that's standard. It's a fatty acid. It's a surfactant. Listen, our job here is not to explain to the people what sodium rapeseedate is when we don't even know. It's just, that's not the exfoliating ingredient, I think.
Is it not?
We've determined.
I think it has to be, I think these sodiums are. Sodium cocoate are the exfoliants.
Oh, it says it has natural cellulose and bamboo powder.
Well, it does have
that?
Cellulose acetate.
That must be one of the
But I guess the sodium cocoate must be the bamboo powder? Yeah. Here it is. Bambusa arundinacea.
Bambusa. So this rapeseedate bambusa bar from Glossier, I feel like similarly it has like these, it feels like a very, very fine sand, but it feels pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
So you're using it and you can really like, you could like make your skin raw looking. You could like get a scab off with it. And the Aaron's faces, I feel, in spite of the fact that the granules are so big and that it feels really aggressive, every swipe of the scrub softens the edges of the granules because they're salty or sugar or whatever, they're melting away.
The Glossier one feels like you're taking a shower with a nice smelling piece of sandpaper.
100%. If it left more of a film, I would love it. Because I do like that exfoliation.
Yeah. So, and wait, how expensive is this?
It's
because I do feel like for me, a bar like this, if it weren't that expensive, would be a good alternative.
It's $14.
Not. Oh, it did.
But it lasted a long time.
It lasted like,
I mean,
mine lasted probably close to a month.
I've had mine for probably at least 2 months. And I don't use it every single time I take a shower, but I use it a lot.
I was using mine every single time, but I think even then it lasted me a month.
It does not melt away like other kinds of bar style scrubs. I'll say that for it.
I might want to investigate something in this vein, but because I'm a person who doesn't mind using lotion, I feel like this would be a fine alternative as well to my more fancy scrub situations.
It's very good, but not the GOAT.
It's solid.
It's impressive, especially given the format that they went with. You know, I think you probably can't get a scrub to check all of my boxes if it's in a bar.
Yeah. This guy, and then...
This is all you, because I haven't tried it.
Well, do you want to smell it?
Yes. It smells so
good, I know.
This is the Saban white tea.
Body scrub. Wait, hang on. Yeah, I did it. I did it. This is my number one. Ollie and I went away for a really special getaway after we got married and we went to like a fancy hotel in Santa Barbara and they had bath products that smelled like this. So when I opened this and I smelled this smell, I felt like I was back at that fancy hotel with Ollie on our little like mini moon weekend away. But
how are the granules?
The granules are much smaller, rather fine.
And it's salt, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the air in spaces is sugar.
But here's what I'll say for this is that sometimes salt scrubs give me trouble. Like sometimes they irritate me, but I think that might be when the granules are larger. Mm-hmm. And in this case, they're like pretty small and maybe the combination of oils too that are in there make it feel...
It looks so oily. So it looks so really, like, deliciously oily. Like, I'm not sorry that I gave it to you for Hanukkah, but
wait,
I kind of...
You're kind of sorry. You can see the oil like sloshing around in there. And it comes with this lovely little scoopy thing. You know, it's kind of a big jar. Like there are many scoops of this. So I know this was not an inexpensive product.
I think it's like $35.
Yeah, but it feels like it's going a really long way to me. And so this is the one that I'm using as my like special treat scrub. And I'm trying to ration it. And it makes, and the fact that it's in such a large jar and that this scoop, like you don't even need to use a whole scoop of it to have a good go at like one arm or one leg is really helping with that.
Okay, the Bliss Blood Orange.
Okay, so this is a scrub that I used a lot in my 20s, I would say.
I remember it smelling good.
It smelled really, I mean, it smells like a candied orange.
Looking at the ingredients, because I just pulled it up, the first ingredient is sucrose. It's a sugar scrub, and then it has sodium lauryl sulfate and propylene glycol and water, and then it moves into the oils. So it's kind of like a bubbling scrub, right?
Yeah,
like you scrub it, it's got like that.
Totally like that.
And that's what the House of Glory one is like as well. It's like a sugar granules set in sort of like this foaming base with some oils, but they tend to be really nice and cleansing and scrubby, but not leave as much of like
and that's 1,000%
film behind
what happens. And I would say, and the sugar granules are really small too. They're like about the same size as the salt granules in the Saban scrub.
Yeah.
But the effect is that it kind of like melts away very quickly once once you start scrubbing. Like I would give it a 5 out of 10 on the scrub-o-meter. Like it's not super exfoliating. So the main like highlight of it is that it smells really nice.
I think that I'm just going to knock out the House of Glory ones now because the formula is so similar. That's what we're talking about. If you like the Bliss one or you like the way it sounds, but you'd rather support a small brand, then I recommend House of Glory because it also has the advantage of having like amazing scents. And it's the same thing. I think of it as a cleansing product though. Like I don't think of that kind of scrub as a body scrub, even though I think of it as like a slightly exfoliating body wash or soap. Yeah, I mean, I spent some of my budget this year on the House of Glory ones at the beginning of quarantine, so it's I understand. Yeah, and it's definitely in the same camp as the Bliss.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an enjoyable experience, but it's not the apex of my scrub pyramid.
Tell us about the Ahava shea butter and Dead Sea Salt.
Well, I feel like that's another one where you might not fully consider it to be a scrub or you wouldn't like it as much because so the butteriness of it makes it like there's something that's first of all, the granules are like I recall them being huge. Kind of irritating to me because they were salt and they were large. The combination of those two factors, even though the shea butter did sort of ameliorate it a little bit, it was really intense experience for me. Yeah, the jar is not that big.
Oh, it looks very buttery.
It's really... Well, so the thing about that is that I felt like it made it almost kind of a little challenging to scoop. Or like, it was like very thick. And I had it over like a long period of time because the sea salt irritated my skin a little bit. It took me a long time to use it up, but I was like, I'm gonna use this up. So I would like use it and then I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I love this. I'll take a little break.
Horrible. It sounds like it was a real trial.
While I stuck with it. No, it was fine. It wasn't like I was in there.
Punishment.
It wasn't in there like...
You have to use this body scrub up before you can move on to the next phase of your life's journey.
I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. I felt like guilty that I had this thing and I was like, okay, I should use it.
It was like emotionally and physically uncomfortable.
The thing about all that shea butteriness is that then the salt does not, the salt
like
does not
sticks
melt
it.
away.
Yeah.
It really like gums up and stays on. So it's good for like, if you really want to go to town scrubbing with salt. I just don't want to go to town scrubbing with salt that's that big. So that was like, actually ended up kind of being a downside for me, where normally like the scrubbiness would be an upside. And that shea butter, no, I didn't hate everything about it, but the shea butter also over time kind of like condensed in this way that made it not soft and silky. And I mean, it kind of never was the whole time. I feel like there wasn't even a moment at the beginning where I opened it up and it was like really buttery and then it became less buttery. I feel like the whole time it was like,
wow,
it wasn't, it's
a scathing review.
As you can see,
a scathing review by Julia of the Ahava shea butter and Dead Sea salt.
But other people might like it.
I'm glad the Lush one is next on the list because that's also salt.
Yeah.
And honestly, based on your description, it sounds kind of like something similar, except maybe not in as intense of a butter base. It's more of like a creamy base. And the thing about the Lush one, it's kind of an iconic Lush product. It smells really good because I think it has vodka in it. It smells like some sort of vodka citrus drink. Like it smells really, really good, but it's very abrasive and then it's kind of stingy because it's got that citrus in it and alcohol, and it's very exfoliating, and it's also a sea salt scrub. So I've always enjoyed it when I've had it, but it's pretty intense, and I actually think it's probably not very good for your skin.
It seems
I mean,
like
I think
not
it's
the
actually
scrub for
not.
me.
Yeah, no, definitely not the scrub for you. And I really do think it's one of those things where it's like it feels and smells really good, and in theory it is brightening because it's got like a lot of lemon juice or something in it, but I think it's probably not very good for one's skin. So to me, it's a pleasurable experience, but it's not towards the top. The Dove one, I feel like I can do this really quickly because they're all kind of grouping into categories. The Dove one is like this. Like, remember I was talking about how this is like a lotion with these small non-melting granules in it? It's just like this, but in like a jar of this size.
That sounds
and
perfect.
For a low price. So in terms of like price per ounce, usability, thriftiness, having something that you can indulge in daily, and it's like, it's not the peak of the peak because it doesn't have like the really good oils of the Aaron's Faces or like the big granules or anything like that. So it's not like you're having your cake and eating it too. You know what I mean? Like you're making a slight concession because of these small granules and because it's more lotiony than oily. But that's one that I would buy again because I feel like the price is really right and I did really enjoy using it. And then the Lalicious one, I feel like falls kind of in the bubbling scrub category, but that is maybe neck and neck with Aaron's Faces for one of the best I've ever tried. I had this like blood orange Lalicious scrub and it was the same. It was kind of like the Bliss formula or the House of Glory formula, but also in a jar this size, like a huge jar. And it left much more of a layer of moisture on the skin than I think I remember the ones from House of Glory or the Bliss one leaving. So that's a great scrub. The only thing about it is they are a little bit pricey. I think it's like $30 or something, but everything Lalicious does is amazing. And they're also a small brand. So that's kind of close to the top for me. That's a really, really good. I think that a lot of people, when they think of a body scrub, that's kind of like what they think of, the Lalicious one. It's like, it's almost like all of them had a baby.
I want that to be my like nickname at the law school. I want to be like
Lawlicious.
Lawlicious.
I feel like my number one is the Aaron's Faces Peppermint, very, very closely followed by the Lawlicious. What's your number one?
My number one is the Sabon white tea. And then absolutely. And then the Aaron's Faces Peppermint. And then behind that, kind of trailing sort of far behind that would be the Bliss Blood Orange. And even farther behind that would be
what about the
vegetal course? Oh, I would say I think it might tie with the vegetable body.
Really?
Yeah, because there's something I really like the apricots.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing you. I mean, it's just your clarifying.
You were so shocked.
I know, it's just you're clarifying your position.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like in terms of exfoliation, they kind of achieve the same result.
That makes total sense.
But then I think I like the way this one smells slightly better. Yeah. But I do like the convenience of this being in a bar and lasting longer more. So it's like those things kind of it all comes out in the wash and they're even.
They're even, but not because they're the same.
Right, exactly. They're very different, but they're on the same level with each other. Very far below that would be the Ahava Shea Butter. It was a character building experience, I feel.
Funny. You like forcing yourself to use it up over the course of years. It was a character building.
Well, Steph got it for me from a vacation. It was very thoughtful of her.
Do you think she's gonna watch that?
I sure hope not, but if she does, I just want you to know, Steph, that I really appreciated the thought. I did really appreciate the thought. I appreciated it so much that it took 3 years.
I'm not laughing because I don't think you appreciated the thought. I know you did. Standouts. If you want what I want, if you love like really scrubby and like extremely oily and you really want to feel super moisturized, then the Erin's Faces. I think that if you really want a salt scrub with fine granules with lots of oils, the Savon.
Yeah, and I will say it also, even if you don't have a fond memory of staying in a fancy hotel with your husband after you got married, it smells like really spa-y to me. Like it smells like really very good. Upscale spa to me.
If you want a bubbling scrub, something that's like more like a body soap, you can exfoliate while you're washing your body, I'd say House of Chloe or Lalicious. And if you want a bar, the Glossier one, you could do worse. I think it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good for what it is. Price per ounce, like budget, a huge handful of budget scrub. If that's what you're after, the Dove is the one that I would recommend. And it's not like we're body scrub experts or something. We're just talking about
I'm definitely not a body scrub expert.
But you probably are altogether much more expert than we are. So based on our preferences, let us know in the comment section down below, is there some sort of like mysterious body scrub we've missed? I'm really curious about more from small brands, and I'm also really curious about more kind of budget options. Yeah. But more than any of that, if you know how to make your own body scrub, or if you've like seen a video where someone does it and they had a good recipe, or if you've done it or you know a website or something, give us the tea because we want to do it. We want to each try to make our own perfect body scrub. Thank you for being on my channel.
Thanks for exfoliating me.
This was so fun. Do you want to say the outro?
Yeah, sure. Wait. Okay, please remember to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.